Ani, bonjour, Tanzi Sego. Welcome everyone. My name is Phil Cote. My indigenous name is Nodj-mowin-Miskogayaashk. And I'm a sun dancer, a pipe carrier, a sweat lodge leader, and I belong to the Eagle Society and False Face Society. And I'm Shawnee, Lakota, Potawatomi, Ojibway, Algonquin, and Mohawk.
Hi, my name's Nick Sweetman. I'm a Toronto artist, and I painted this mural back here.
Mural, Two Worlds Converging. It's basically about the two narratives that exist on the land here. One of the narratives have been silenced for 500 years. We've heard the first narrative, that is the Western view of things in North America, but the Indigenous narrative is very rare to hear. It's now being heard, of course. The education system has changed, but we still have yet to have changed the media. The media still is in control of who Indigenous people are.
The inspiration for this mural was conversations with the community. I'm talking to people about what things they identify as key features of this community, and the conversation's always centered around the lake, the wildlife that they see at the lake, the views of the lake, how nice it is to walk by the water. So I wanted the lake shore to be kind of the subject of this mural, the particular habitat that exists at the threshold between aquatic and terrestrial environments, and the different species that you can see along the lakeshore in Toronto. The natural world is where animals, plants, natural processes, learning about the science of the world definitely is what inspires me to explore different painting techniques and kind of depicting things in a vibrant and dynamic way. The more I learn about nature, the more I'm compelled to create and to, tell these stories that I learn.
I think it's important to point out that Nick had already kind of started this whole mural, and he already had all the design done, and I was an afterthought. I don't think that was such a bad thing, but it was an important element in terms of bringing an Indigenous narrative into that kind of perspective that Nick was bringing to the audience. So bringing in those designs was something that was instantaneous. When I was asked to participate in this mural, that's what I thought of. Right off the bat, I thought of the birch bark scrolls and how they always painted very simple symbols to suggest a message and get the viewer thinking on a more magical level. And I think that's what this was bringing. And the element is magic, but it's really about spirit. So spirit was kind of showing the way around the beautiful work that Nick was doing. The imagery that I produced on the mural was connected to our cosmology. Our cosmology is really vital in terms of understanding who Indigenous people are. We have a different view of the universe, and Indigenous people have made many connections to the universe. I think that's important, that these black images on here represent that great mystery, and the black itself represents the first world, and the first world was a black void with a spirit in it, and that spirit sent signals out into the universe 4 times and waited for a response. When that spirit didn't get a response, it called those signals back and said, as you come back to me, create light in the universe. In that moment, all the stars were born. From all the stars, planets began to form until a planet that could hold life, and that's where human beings come into the picture. So we have these views of these two places now that have come together here on Earth. We have the spirit world and we have the physical world side by side. And this is a great replica of that idea and that philosophy of Indigenous thinking. So we do have a lot of stereotyping that's still a part of that view, the Western view of Indigenous people. But slowly things are changing, and due to artists like myself who are talking about the culture from an Indigenous narrative and experience, because experience is number one for Indigenous people.
that's exactly what we're trying to do here, is talk about these things not as a fantastical world somewhere far away, but as real lived experience. Phil's expressing that in his way, I'm expressing that in my way, and we're hoping that the worlds are meeting somewhere in the middle on the wall.
I realize that this is the daunting task that is ahead of this country, is bringing this new narrative, the old narrative, into the scheme of things, because Canada is in the process of being decolonized. And I think the artists, we're already here. We're already really doing it. When you see this interaction in the mural, you can see that we're getting to the heart of things. And even Nick pointed out the idea of experiential learning is part of the experience, and I think that's a good way of putting it. That's what this was.
The most important thing in my life moving forward is to know that I'm using my platform the best way that I can to draw attention to these issues and repair that relationship in whatever way I can. If the work that I do with Phil or without Phil can help people's eyes and hearts be attracted to that, then that's the most important thing, I think, as artists, that we can do.
You know, we're in the eighth fire now, and the eighth fire is a prophecy that came to the people about 1,200 years ago. We had these prophets called the seven fires, and the last prediction that they said would happen was called the eighth fire. And they said during that time that these two cultures were going to come together and they were going to mingle. And this is what's happening here. The mingling is happening, and from that mingling, seeds were going to be planted, and those seeds were going to create the new people that are part of the eighth fire. So we are the seed planters, allowing this new world to begin on a better foot.
I love that.
It's true.
That's beautiful.
Nick, miigwech.
Miigwech. Thank you very much.